Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you doing?
Good.
I
I'm doing good. Yes,
okay. I
I'm.
hope I am absolutely audible.
Yes, you're spot on, crystal clear. I
Okay.
hope the audience is able to hear both of us. Yes, I think so. As people join, I would like to talk a little about when you started the firm, ma'am. ZZ Architects way back in 2002.
Yeah.
ZZ Architects was born in 2002, so I would be introducing the firm first. ZZ Architects is basically a firm in Mumbai, India, which is a multi-award winning and multidisciplinary firm with the motto of changing customized approach and making more personalized attempts towards the clients and benefactors. And the basic philosophy that they follow is that every detail counts. So if you see their projects, there's a lot of attention given to the details, scale and proportion. And they have won quite great allocates nationally and have been widely featured in a lot of magazines in India and abroad. So it was an initiative of two people way back in 2002, and now they have about 60 associates working under them. So, ma'am, as the viewers join, I would want you to tell us a little about how did it start way back in 2002.
I mean, we come from very humble beginnings. So,
Right.
I think both of us are very excited that we are architects, and we started a practice with merely 5 people and 150 square feet office space. But what initially started our practice was our very first award, which we won before we formalized ZZ Architects, and it was for a staircase. So at that
Okay.
time, we very much realized that what excited us was good work and not the scale of work that we were doing. So no matter how small or big the project, we wanted to make sure that it stands out and you do your best, due diligence to the project. So that's how we started off. Today we are at a turn where we are looking at probably a 15,000 square feet floor space, and we are 70 plus designers and architects within our firm. And we are a nice, strong and passionate team overall. So as a team, it's been always critical for us to be on the same parallel when we are designing.
Right.
So that's how Setzer Architects sort of took off. And our journey is honestly seen projects from as small as a staircase, and then we got into a far more detailed thing of doing a lot of interior projects. And today we have a portfolio wherein we are doing hotels and luxury homes. We are very known for doing quality driven projects overall. That's the essence of the firm. And and we're doing architecture and interiors through a varied, span of segments overall, be it master planning, be it residential or corporate. So that's the
Right.
fun of the working environment, that you can just wake up one day and say, I want to work on something that excites me today, and be doing a
True.
bedroom, and next day you are just kind of you're doing a public space, and and everybody seems to be contributing in the process.
Right. I would like to quote one of your statements
Yeah.
that it is often invisible nuances that make the visible difference. So,
Yes.
could you like to elaborate a little before we formally proceed with the same?
Actually, that is, the time we started our firm, there was a small white frame that we had, which said this statement, and it was a flat white paper with gloss white text, which said,
Right.
it's often the invisible nuances that make the visible difference. And it's a sort of a motto that we've stood by even from that. And it's something that we always tell our team, try to reflect that in your work. So it's often how the wire, like I'm just sitting where I can see, the wires hidden below the center table, and the book has a little bit of a soft cloth below when it's put on my center table again. So I mean, these things that kind of go unnoticed are what make a difference when you are physically using something or you're experiencing a space. And design sort of filters in through at various levels, be it a larger space where you're kind of experiencing natural light, a skylight, or be it the handle that you're using or on a door, you know, which kind of makes you feel comfortable. You know, the metal's not too cold, depends on what environment you are in. So I think this is exactly what we mean by that. And that's why we've stuck on to this. And it honestly forms a cover story, which is going to be released next week for a
Okay.
magazine. So I guess you will see that.
Okay, brilliant. So, okay, let me formally introduce ourselves. Hello, audience. My name is Papul Suneja. I am the country editor for World Architecture Community, and I'm currently pursuing my research at the Bauhaus Dessau Foundation, Germany. And we have with us our second guest for this talk series, Krupa Zubain, and very proudly we call her as the Artistifier because she's an entrepreneur, a fitness enthusiast, a style icon, avid reader, book lover, or rather I would say bibliophilic, and a very great source of inspiration for people out there, especially women across the nation and also globally. So I welcome you, ma'am, for this today's session that we're going to have like a chit chat session. And let me tell my audience, we would also take one or two questions at the end. If we find some interesting questions from the audience in the comment section. So yes, my first question to you, ma'am. How did architecture find its way for you? You know, how did you decide you want to study architecture?
Okay, first of all, I have to thank you and the World Architecture community to have me on board. I think you all do a very fabulous, job of getting and conveying what is happening globally in the design field. And it's a very important platform for everybody to be associated with. So I'm very happy that I'm a part of it.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
And
thank you, ma'am.
so coming to your question, I think, when I look at it as of today, I don't think I can be anybody else but an architect. I think I have gained so much from the profession. And as I see myself, what I am today is purely the learning that I've had over the years, probably 18 years of our practice. And, the profession has the strength of really kind of transforming everything, transforming people, transforming spaces. So I'm glad to be here. I mean, obviously, at our times when we took off, medicine, engineering were like popular professions, and my love for art and design pushed me into architecture. And the minute I started college, I realized this was it. You know, I'm just in the right place. And from there on, there obviously has been no looking back.
Right.
Also, our profession tends to sort of converge all fields of design. Like personally, I take a lot of inspiration from fashion, from art, from my travel, and it gives you a very broad-minded approach.
Sure.
Being an architect is absolutely kind of it's a very gratifying profession.
Right, the audience wants us to close the comments. Okay, we can close the comments for some time as they want to see you in the picture, and we will switch on the comments again when we want questions from the audience. So yes, you're not only I've actually read a lot about you in past few days, and I have also seen your Instagram profile and handle. You are actually quite inspirational for everyone, not only to the architecture fraternity, but also to the common people and the people out there in the country. So coming to a more specific question related to architecture, do you think in going with the flow or being calculative in your decisions is the demand of the current profession that we are in?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we are very pragmatic in our approach, and a sort of a roadmap always is very helpful when you're doing a large palette of projects. I mean, at any given point of time, we're doing about 50 to 60 projects on hand, so we need to be very strategic in our plan of action overall, and we've always been like that. Also, we have to our advantage a slightly mid-sized team that makes it very easy for us to sort of be organized and have an internal infrastructure. So I think in that sense, it is being strategically planned. That is the core of our organization. But at this time is very unprecedented, I'm sure, for everybody. I mean, we don't really know what is tomorrow going to be like, so we can't plan 100%. But we look at it as a phase where, if I speak about beyond my organization, I think a lot of us don't need too much to survive. I mean,
Right.
especially being in the lockdown for the last 1 month, we've realized that our needs are quite limited. But if we can be focused on quality-oriented approach, have less, but be focused on the quality of things that we have, we can live with less. So the same goes
Right.
with sustaining a practice. Today, we are not. We don't have a fear of sustaining the practice because of the number of projects that we have. And I think what we are looking at is a lot of projects were at a pace of completion when we went into this phase. And we
Right.
are planning that we'll take this up and take them to the finish line. The projects that are, there are a couple that we had finalized right before the lockdown, and these clients are obviously a little unnerved because they've not even begun the project, but they have, initially just started work. So we are trying to implement what changes can we make so that we make the planning a little more efficient, the planning a little more better. And we've taken this
Right.
time as a great time to conceptualize. I think no architect can plan this much lead time on a project, so if we take
True.
this as an opportunity to stay back and say, let's relook at all the work that I have on hand and how I can add in a sense of quality, a sense of betterment from my learning into the project, we will gain a lot from it, so I
True.
think that
Yeah.
is what we are looking at.
Right. Let me also tell my audience that the firm that ma'am is the co-founder of, their profile of work is usually inspired from art, food, literature, festival, product design, fashion, graphics, and cinema. So that is quite intriguing in itself. So yes, my next question to you is that as you have been widely featured in terms of your profile and your firm's projects in a lot of magazines in India especially, and also in the international platforms. So do you think that architectural magazines contribute to the architectural discourse in the future? I mean, say after half a century, if you look back what was published about you or about your firm. So
Yeah.
does it lead to a discourse?
Yes, it does. In fact, just about yesterday, I had, after one of my live sessions, I had somebody DM me a photograph of the first cover story that ZZ had back in
Right.
2002, I believe that was. And it felt so special. So I think the print media has its own strong ground. And, and architecture and design publications definitely set a very strong course when it comes to the design industry overall. Even when you look at fashion and fashion houses and fashion publications, you see they're also joining this bandwagon. It clearly says that, how design has become such a consumable in our times. Everybody's
Right.
finding design so relevant. And this is something that's cross borders.
Right.
So I mean, an architect takes inspiration. I mean, I take inspiration from what I wear and what I read and what I watch, and I'm trying to maximize this time to just be inspired. I mean, for the amount of time that I have spent in looking at things that were not touched in the house, like this library with lots of books and lots of movies that have just been multilingual, so that the director of Parasite said, try to look at
Right.
movies with subtitles. That's exactly what we've been doing. And it's amazing to see how media can cross connect you between where you are and where you want to be. Also we take a great sense of inspiration from our travel and visiting architecture and spaces that we are inspired from as much as we can. And I think looking at the publications which are more local in that city will give you a sense of what is happening in the design
Right.
fraternity in that era. So I think I think it's a great thing also compared to now. Print media that I've always been favoring. I love to go back to my office and say, let's look at all the magazines that have come. But now the
Right.
digital media is also catching up and has become very important and relevant in today's time. And it seems to keep
Right.
all of us very up to date and connected.
Right. So as we talk about the magazines, we will also talk a little about the communication aspect. So, ma'am, what is essential in communication so that architecture easily finds its way in the people's disposition?
Um, See, I mean, I think it is the course of, what is the kind of communication that we are having within smaller zones that becomes very relevant. In architecture, it's also the patrons and the end users who matter as much as the architect. So it is very important to have, spaces like design museums that families can visit at the end of the weekend or at the weekend and be inspired from.
Right.
Design needs to be the talk of the hour, So for these
Right.
to kind of find its way into our life, I think it's very important to create platforms that people can associate within. I remember my recent trip to Milan. I mean, I'm very fond of Japan. Tokyo is my best. My favorite city overall. So my
Right.
recent trip to Milan, there was an exhibition of the built and the unbuilt works of Tadao Ando. And this was at the
Right.
Armani Silos in Milan. And I spent almost a day and a half with Zubin. For all who know that Zubin Zainuddin and myself started ZZ Architects, and we happen to
Right.
travel together everywhere. So, we spent so much time just looking at the exhibition, and there was not only models, there were sketches, photographs, and entire digital interpretations of how the structures were built and the story behind. And it was absolutely inspiring. We also
Right.
happened to meet Oki Sato from Nendo at the exhibition. And honestly, he was as much of a fanboy as we were,
Right.
of the works. And it's great to see this common connect that all us creatives have in this whole journey of always being inspired and always being wanting to learn more.
Right. Yes, I would also like to tell the audience that ZZ Architects have executed one of the first paperless hospitals known as
Yeah.
Vikram Hospital in
Yeah.
Bengaluru, India. So that is one of the finest projects that they have executed in the past. Ma'am, as we spoke about magazines, communications, we would also like to know a little more about forums like the self-organization of architects. And I think you're the best person to answer because you have also curated along with Zubin sir, the Decode platform, which was
Yes.
one of the attempts to self-organize the architects. So how much is the responsibility to bring the difference and the larger interest?
When the Times of India group approached us for curating the first luxury design show, interior design show in India, the only reason we took it up was that we felt there was a gap and there was a need to get actually a community together. Also, let the
Right.
end user realize the kind of, international and local solutions in terms of design that are available to all of us today. And that led to us taking up the entire curation of Decode. And we also, once it was conceptualized, it has only grown over the last 2 years. And there have been a lot of Indian architects and designers who become a part of the forum and have lovely discussions. So the idea was to only come together to sort of celebrate design as to what is available mainly in the sector in Mumbai. That was the
Right.
intention, but it's also crossed this thing, and it's become an event that throughout the country people have marked their calendars on because it's become so successful.
Right.
And it's definitely elevated design for all of us, and obviously brought the community together and help us push boundaries in terms of what is available globally and how we need to kind of always push ourselves to do more.
Right. True. So as we speak to you next, I will switch on the comments so that we get some questions. Meanwhile, I ask you my next question.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, I'm quite amazed to see your profile, and I want to ask you one question from my side. What inspires you to keep going ahead and continue the learnings in the field?
No, I always feel there is always somebody better than you, and there is always something much larger than what you've achieved. And that is simply something that keeps you going ahead in different fields. When we look at different creatives, it makes us understand the bandwidth there is today to be actually, you are able to do far more better work than you could do yesterday. And you're able to communicate on a much larger platform. So if
Right.
I did save a few images of our works in case you wanted to see some homes, but the very fact from where we started, The first larger home that we did was about 30,000 square feet. And at that time, the area seemed, you know, I mean, why does somebody want a 30,000 square feet? I mean, today you're doing a private home, which is 80,000 square feet, and you still feel that it is logical. You know, I mean, you've learned, you yourself have grown in the process, and our field obviously also lets us meet some very enterprising people. I mean, we meet people from different industries. So every day is a learning process. I don't feel, there are very few fields which are blessed with this kind of interaction, you know, personal interaction.
Right. So we will take a question from one of the persons called Proposed Design Life. He's asking, what are your thoughts about the famous interior designers versus architects? Okay. So the dichotomy, yeah.
Yeah. See, honestly, I feel both the fields merge at some point. You know, architecture is just a little more broader point of view, and it's been a little more intense in terms of our education profession. But I think a lot of architects are practicing interior design in terms of doing architecture and interior design, you know, because they seem to be very well built together. So, I mean, I always say more the merrier. I love the surge of international architects crossing borders, and I mean, you having to work within your country and working abroad as well. You know, I think this kind of cross culture is very necessary because it gives everybody a competitive edge. You know, so the same thing between fashion, design, interior design, architecture. It's always nice that you know, we are kind of we are expanding our canvas, because it only helps one get a different point of view.
True. We will also take another interesting question from Paper Sketch. He's asking you, what inspires you to use art in your projects, and how important is art in architecture projects?
You know, there are certain projects that sort of are built around art when the client is a collector. So we have certain projects where the clients have a lot of art and we sort of use them. There are certain where you commission art. So I think art has this inherent value of uplifting the entire story of a space. Now, to me, even book can become a piece of art. I mean, I have a lovely Annie Leibovitz, which I posted very recently on my page. And it's a 4 feet span when it opens up, you know. So these are works that she's done through the design practice, through her, you know, entire career, and they are fabulous. So that is a piece of art around which I kind of revolved my entire planning of the house. But it's such an important part of my space. So art has, I mean, I love to get the shock value from an art, because, you know, when somebody sees it, it sort of initiates a conversation, which is very exciting, you know. So art is welcome when the end user can appreciate what he has on the wall.
True. I would also like to ask you another question from my end. Do you agree that architecture, or rather I would explain it as market-oriented architecture, is slowly overpowering the architecture profession?
See, there has been a phase, but I feel now is quite a reset button for all of that, because market-oriented architecture, as long as it was quality-driven, it is all right. But when it is not quality-driven and you're looking at a very short-term solution, then people have paid a price for it. You know, so today when we are within our indoors, we all realize the quality of life and the value of everything that you hold within your homes is the most important. You know, because no matter how fancy your compound is and how fancy your clubhouse is, you're not able to use it as much. So your life within your home, within the spaces that are generated for the people is kind of clearly valued. Also, you know, smaller things like cross ventilation. I mean, you see a lot of these glazed buildings throughout. I mean, they're all right for offices, but when it comes to homes, they are not the most practical in a climatic area like our own country, you know. So it's very nice to have cross ventilated spaces with smaller decks where you can step out. You know, so these things are something that we've all realized. There is a sense of civic sense that is coming, wherein even the uneducated know that these are things that we must do for a better living, you know. So I think design has a possibility after this phase to filter in that quality and value very easily, even to even to, hierarchies within our segment, which we found difficult at one time. So when we come out of this, I think we have to be looking at quality and long-term solutions in architecture, and not what you are saying, which has been prevalent over a period sometime.
Definitely. We'll take another quick question from the audience from Neha. She's asking you, how imperative are soft furnishings for any project?
See, I myself launched, we use a lot of global, companies for a lot of things, because we believe in quality. And we also believe in the Make in India campaign. So I've launched a line of textiles just before the lockdown, which at the Decode platform. And it's a very comprehensive, large collection. The idea is, textiles add a great value, to the space. If you see where I'm sitting right now, I have this 20 feet of curtain, which is like a mesh, but it lets in such nice soft light, even at a time like this, where I have, the sun right behind me. So I think textiles kind of layer the space and give a very soft texture to the space. And they're a very important part of the interior, fabric, interior design process overall. So yeah, I think I personally enjoy using a lot of great textiles and textures into the project overall.
Great. So my final question to you, ma'am. How has the global pandemic crisis affected the profession, and what are your thoughts about the future? I know you have answered this question multiple times via your previous sessions, but I would like to know, what do you think about the future of the architecture profession?
See, I think, again, there has been a great sense of realization while we are inside. And also there are two things that are going to hold great value towards, design and architecture. One is quality. I think this time has made us realize that you buy less, but buy what you can afford the best. So that's going to hold true even with architecture. It's not necessary that cheap real estate will sell faster. It's real estate which is going to add on to the quality of your life and make things easier for you is going to sell, even if it's a little more expensive. So that is something that's very, very important. Again, today we realize the value of everything that is nature, a natural light, a lot of green around us. Even the sight of a tree kind of brings a pleasant sense of joy to us. So, having these internal green spaces, because we can't really rely on, being able to travel half an hour to just enjoy the sea face. You want to have a little bit of a courtyard in the space that you have. You want to have a little garden to take a walk. So, having as much green indoors as possible is going to become very, very relevant. Again, sustainability is going to be the call of the day, because sustainability, which is very practical, is again going to be important, because we need to pull these factors as a long-term solution, as something that is very viable and easily achievable.
True. It was quite amazing to listening to your answers, and not even a single thing that you missed, it's quite inspirational. I also believe the audience would have enjoyed. Do we have any other question to take? Just a second. Okay, maybe we'll take the last question. Again from Paper Sketch, a very interesting question. How do you play with the basic fundamentals of architecture?
I think, personally, we let a space kind of decide the course that we are going to take in design. And no rule can be set, or no trend. We don't believe in trends as much, but no rule can be set for every project. There are some basics that we love: a lot of height, a lot of light, a lot of nature. So we try to make sure that no matter what the project, if you have something that you can hold on to in that project and, work around that, we do that. So there's this lovely project that we're doing, couple of resorts, like I mentioned. So there's one resort we're doing where the land is two mountains, so the entire resort is a part of those two mountains. There's a lake, and, it's called 11.2. And it's already phase one was almost on completion when we, went into shutdown. So it's got these lovely trees, and the entire space is designed around this landscape, you know, so the lighting is very sensitive. It's also important to us how the light sort of reflects on the trees in the evening. So there was this one meeting purely to see you know, how we are lighting up the space. There's a small temple we've built there, you know. So I mean, I
Right.
think the space inspires the architecture in most cases, and we take our little and it's our journey is very process driven in every project. So we initiate from there, and then we kind of be surprised ourselves at the end of the project, you know, as to what we've achieved.
Brilliant, you know. Um, I really thank you on behalf of the W8 community for taking out time from your schedule for joining us for this session. And I hope you keep inspiring and touching hearts across the globe. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
No, thank you so much to your entire community for doing a fabulous job. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you. Take care.
Yeah.